Welcome to Talent Pop Podcast, where we will provide tips and strategies for success in sales, networking, marketing, and business. We will be learning from real stories that will inspire you to unlock your potential, discover your talents, and develop the confidence to take action on your biggest dreams. We are focused on empowering women to connect their passions with their purpose to find true fulfillment. It's time to pop off, queens. Pop off, queens! Hi, this is your host, Amanda O'Connell, and this is Talent Pop episode 9. We have our special guest, Iliana Quadri. We call her Ills. She has been with us as executive search director now for, I don't know,
it's
months,
like 10 and a half months.
Almost a year.
Yeah.
And she's been doing amazing. I can't wait to kind of dive into her journey and her process. But she has an interesting background I'd love to share with you. So welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. I'm excited to be a part of it, and I'm excited to talk about my journey a little bit.
Yeah. So Iliana definitely has, I've actually alluded to her background a little bit on a couple of different episodes of this podcast. But she has a unique background. So, and I'll let her talk about that. But she was a flight attendant with Delta Airlines before she came to Recruiter Boom, had no recruiting experience. And I can definitely relate a lot to your story as well. Just kind of like not having that recruiting background, but having like certain qualities that you feel like are very transferable and applicable to like what we do every day. And I love, just like your unique style of just like talking to clients and candidates like human to human and not feeling kind of like how I felt in the beginning. I felt like I had to be somebody else or like put on a persona to talk to like a client or candidate, and you just have this really natural way about you that just allows you to just connect with people. And so I see that, and I feel like it's great, and it really takes the pressure off yourself to like feel like you need to be somebody.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like my background has definitely helped me come into recruiting and be successful, just because previously, like Amanda said, I was a flight attendant for Delta Airlines for almost 2 years, and before that I was a college basketball coach, an assistant, and then I also worked in the service industry. So I think a mixture of all 3 of those positions that I held really helped me in being able to communicate with people well, but also being in pressure situations and staying calm. So I think that's like a big part of my success at Recruiter Boom. And that's something that, has really helped me grow into my own here. And yeah.
Oh, I remember us talking about your like coaching background, because that was also a big piece of your life, the basketball. You were very successful in your basketball career, at Suffolk, and then, your coaching career, and like, yeah, I think being able to stay calm, like under pressure is like really important, but you also kind of have that competitive edge. So that's like a really interesting side, of your background that has allowed you, I think, a lot of success, as well as like the flip side, which is that service, like being that service industry, person. So like, being a flight attendant, like having to constantly like understand and like cater to people's needs and like putting their needs first. And that's really like, what I think has allowed you a lot of success on the client side too. So I'd say both clients and candidates.
Yeah, definitely. And I think going back to basketball as well, when I was playing in college, I was the captain for my junior and senior year. And I think that really helped me with future positions, because, playing on a college basketball team with other females and being the leader, you have to be adaptable to a lot of different personalities and helping other people be successful and not just being successful yourself. So being a captain, it's really big about making sure as a team and as a unit, everyone is growing and getting better. And I think that being named a captain really helped me to, be aware of other people within our company, within other positions that I've held, to make sure that, everybody is being successful. So I think that's something that I took away from basketball.
And that reminds me of like the importance of like leadership, and then like working on a team too. Not everyone has like that team background, so I think that was helpful. But also that leadership aspect I think is really important. And like we talk about a little bit on the podcast about different leadership styles and I think, you talk so much about the team and thinking about the team. I mean, that really is kind of the core of what leadership should be about. It's not necessarily like somebody saying like, these are the rules and follow the rules. It's really like catering, and that's what kind of I had to learn about leadership, is it's really catering to what people, what people's true needs are, like finding out what those needs are, like uncovering the layers of the onion, or peeling back layers of the onion.
And it's a lot of leading by example as well. So you can be put into a leadership position and say, oh, I'm going to be there for you. I'm going to, anything that you're going through, like, I'll help you out. And it's one thing to say that, but it's another thing when you actually see and recognize like someone needing assistance with someone, or someone needing help, and actually like proactively going to help them. There's like two very different leaders in that aspect. And I think my basketball and career really helped me be someone who's aware of what's going on with other people, and kind of being able to recognize when someone is like in need of help or is in need of guidance, and like proactively going to help them in that situation.
It definitely makes me think, and I think it's a lot of it's your personality too. Like, you come in and you tell these stories about people that you like, watching people's dogs or whatever that might be, like helping people on the street. Like, I always hear you telling these stories, and I'm like, wow, this is somebody that goes out of her way to help people, and I think that really goes a long way, especially in this industry, but just in business and being part of a team in general. Like, having that sort of like natural.
I definitely, and I think within this industry, it's really helped me because it's really given me a purpose. With recruiting, I know that I am money motivated as well, but I do really love genuinely helping people. So whether that be the client side or the candidate side or both, when you make that perfect placement and your client is ecstatic and your candidate is so happy, like, that's the best feeling in the world. And yes, obviously I love, getting my commissions, but I love finding those perfect matches, because ultimately when someone finds a new job, that's completely changing their life. And like going back to me finding a position here, I was working for Delta. That's a Fortune 500 company. That was a goal that I had set for myself, and I worked and worked and worked, and I finally got there. And once I got there, I realized, like, oh no, this is not for me. Like, it was heartbreaking, because I was like, I thought I had figured it out. I thought I'd figured my life out. I thought I found my purpose, and it just wasn't it. So coming over here and being able to find something that I'm actually really passionate about and I love doing, and I get to work with people and change their lives. It's been really rewarding and awesome.
I love that you brought up purpose too, because I think, especially, doing what we do every single day, you're waking up and you could go through the motions. So I think tying, this and what we do, to your purpose or what fuels you personally is so important. Because otherwise, I think we talked about this in the last podcast, things can feel like very monotonous and feel empty. And I think we were talking about this before too, is like this industry, for example, like isn't for everyone, or maybe like being a flight attendant isn't for everyone. So it's like trying out different things and being open-minded, to see kind of.
I think that's a huge thing, for everyone, that I think, when I was working for Delta, I felt very stuck. And I felt like I didn't know what to do. Like, I was 27 years old at the time, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm almost 30, and I haven't figured out what I want to do. Like, do I just stick with it and be miserable? Which I unfortunately think a lot of people with their, professions, unfortunately do that. They work and work and work towards something, or they get a position that, is a great position, but for them it's not great. And that's like
from the outside it could look one way, but on the inside they're
you know how many
dying.
Friends I had that were like, oh my God, you're a flight attendant for Delta, that must be amazing, you must travel everywhere, like all this stuff. And I was like, it's it's a lot.
And it's hard to describe to somebody when you're going through that and you're like, something's
and
missing.
I didn't want to sound ungrateful either, because, you know, it is a really hard position to get. A lot of people go for it and a lot of people don't get it. And, you know, a lot of people that when I was in training with, they were like, oh, I applied, this is my 6th application for here. And I'm like, oh my God. So, you know, like, it is a dream for a lot of people, and it was my dream, but it was just like, I think it's very interesting, my path, I guess.
Yeah, and that's scary, I think, to have that shift where you're like, you're at a crossroads and you have to kind of like make a decision, and you're like, I could go one of two ways. And I think it's brave, because like you said, so many people stay in that just because they're like, well, this is the easy thing. This is what I know, rather than like diving into the unknown and like taking that road less traveled or whatever that may be. But I think there's a lot on the other side. Yeah. That if you're willing to like take that chance and believe in yourself and just kind of, you know, dive in. I think also having the right people around you. I think you kind of knowing, you know, a few of us, or maybe one of us in the company already. Maybe that was helpful.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, and you know, new. I mean, you kind of have had a similar path. Obviously, not the exact same, but you know, going from a marketing position and a marketing background, and you know, deciding with Will 5 years ago that you were going to start this company. And I always think, you know, there's always a chance with anything that you do that you can be unsuccessful. So why not do something that you want?
That's true.
And why not do something that you're passionate about? Yeah. As opposed to failing at something that you hate.
That's true.
But yeah, so I think like our paths are definitely very similar in the sense of, you know, having a goal that we had set for ourselves, reaching it, and then realizing, I'm going to change. Yeah. I'm going to change it up. Yes. And it's honestly the best decision I've ever made. I've never been happier. I never thought I would find a position or a job that I genuinely loved. I always thought like job and life was going to be completely separate. But with this company and where I'm at, like it kind of intermingles. Like we hang out with each other all the time. Yeah,
it definitely is ideal. I think is to find that, you know, that happy medium where it's like you're feeling like, and I know, you know, Will talks about this a lot too, is feeling like you're not really like working. You know what I mean? Because if you enjoy what you're doing, you know, you're showing up, you're genuinely just having a good time and enjoying the people you're working with and all of that. So no, that's super important. But no, I can relate to so much of what you're saying. I remember somebody asking me, I think it was one of my bosses, you know, when I worked in marketing, and, well, where do you want to be in 5 years, you know? And I was like, and I was trying to think of what the natural path was, you know, and I'm like, oh, well, director of marketing. And I kind of found myself just like saying something, even though I was like, I don't think that's really what I want. And it was kind of a terrifying feeling inside, because I was like, oh, shoot, like, I don't know if this is what I want, you know, but feeling like I had to say something. And, but I think it's definitely a journey, and, you know, you'll see, like, I think hearing your story is inspiring to people. And then, you know, and also like on this podcast, like you don't know where you're going to end up, but I think I've been reading actually this book, The Calling, and it's like following the things that feel right to you and like feel like you're in alignment. It's like, oh, well, I enjoy talking with people, or I don't enjoy talking with people. Okay, so like start to kind of like, I think advice, or any advice you can give to the audience too, but I mean like start to kind of ask yourself questions, like do that reflection and ask yourself, am I really happy? Am I, you know, or we can relate to the fact that you're scared about making a change. Everyone is. Yeah. But
that was one of the scariest decisions I think career-wise I've ever made. Yeah. You know,
and fear of probably disappointing.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, exactly.
People or whatever, or you know, your boss. I can think of times where I would do things just because I felt like I wanted to please like my boss, or like not because it was really coming from like what I felt was like right or what I wanted to do. It was just because I knew that was what people expected of me.
No, but I think it's really important to set boundaries. And, you know, I think that with Recruiter Boom, you guys have done a really good job of showing how valuable every employee is here. You know, everybody feels valued. Everybody feels like they're needed here. And so by doing that, when you ask us to take on a new project or to start something new, we don't have a problem doing it, because we also know if I was to come to you and say, hey, I want to start this new project, or I want to start this new whatever, I know that you guys are going to be over the moon and helping me through it, as opposed to automatically like, no, that's not what we want, you know? So I think that's really important. And with previous companies that I've been with, especially in the restaurant industry, you know, I feel like it is, once you say yes, you're a go-to person for them. And, you know, they'll just abuse the fact that you will say yes, because they know that you
that's wild.
Want to please them. But the unfortunate part is, once you're that person that says no, then you're kind of dropped to the bottom of their list. So it's
scary.
Yeah, so it's really scary. And, you know, it's something that I realize that I really value in a company.
It's kind of manipulative, actually.
No, it really is. And it's something that I really value in companies, you know, that we work with, or our company in general, because, you know, having boundaries and respect, and like having that mutual understanding that everyone is valuable and everybody is needed, and no one is, you know, too good for anything. I think that's something that's really important with companies and, you know, being successful.
Yeah, and that's something to keep in mind too when you're going like to a new organization or something. It's just like, everyone has got this past, and people may have been burned before, and it's like, you know, even like candidates we've talked to, right, or clients, or, you know, whomever, or even people that have worked with like other organizations or agencies, right? And it's like, people have a past, so it's like just trying to just kind of, you know, be you, and just like kind of go into it with, you know, like in a relaxed sort of way, and not like holding on to these past like grudges and things. Like, I think it's been amazing that, like, and I want to touch on this a little bit, is just like how you've been able to come into this environment and so quickly like ramp up to speed, because I know in the beginning you had a few obstacles where it was like you came in and then you had like a health scare, and like it was just a lot, and I was worried for you, because there were so many new things being thrown at you, and then on top of everything else. And I feel like that's life. Like, sometimes life will just come in and slap you in the face a million times, and you're like, what is going on right now? This should not be happening right now, because this is, you know, something new I'm trying to dive into, and like, and but I feel like you recovered so well, and just like were able to come out of that so successful. And then, you know, you got promoted, and just so seeing your path, I think, is really amazing, inspiring. And then like any advice that you have for people that are like diving into something new, and then how you kind of like found your way and like ramped yourself up like that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think my advice would be, it's okay being comfortable with being uncomfortable. So moving into this position, I wasn't completely comfortable. I was like, I don't even know what recruiting is. Like, what am I going to be doing every day? But I knew that Delta wasn't for me. So coming into this position, I was like, all right, I'm going to be a little bit uncomfortable, but that's okay.
Yep.
And I'm going to ask questions. And I think that's something really important, is not being too good to ask questions, and always being humble, and, you know, always knowing that no matter what level you're at, you can always learn more. And I think going back to basketball, that's something that I kind of like learned from there, that you're never, you know, you can always learn more, you can always add to like your skill set and everything like that. But I think, you know, just being true to yourself and making sure that you're putting in 100%, and if it's not making you happy, then you know, obviously you need to give it a good amount of time of trying out something new. But if it's not something that's making you happy, then you need to find something else. Yep. You know, and I think that's really important. To benefit
everyone, because you don't want to
if you're going
into a dark place.
Exactly. If you don't like your job and you're going in every day and you're giving 50%, you're doing a disservice to yourself, and you're 100%. Doing a disservice to your employer. Yep. So, you know, I think that's the biggest part, is going in, you know, with everything that you have. And that's kind of what I did. I was like, I'm going to give everything I have at this, and I'm going to try my best, and I'm just going to...
It's like the best attitude, though, because I think about that all the time, is that's what fires me up is seeing people's potential and seeing people constantly reaching for that potential and fulfilling that. Like, I think one of the saddest things is like seeing potential that's wasted.
Yeah.
Knowing that you got more left in the tank, and like we kind of connected initially on that whole fitness thing. I was like, oh, tell me about CrossFit. And like I can relate to that, like in terms of like fitness too. Like if you leave a workout and you haven't given it your all, like it's like what's the point? You know what I mean?
Why
like,
did you go to the
push
gym?
Yourself,
yeah.
So,
and I think like a huge part of why a lot of people don't reach their full potential is because they get discouraged by failure. So or by obstacles, like you reach an obstacle, something doesn't work out, you fail at something, and you crawl into a shell and you throw a pity party.
Yeah.
But
which sometimes, we do a little bit.
We're
not perfect.
Yeah, exactly. And there's times where I'm like, okay, something horrible happened.
Yep.
I'm going to allow myself until like 5 p.m. tonight to feel really sorry for myself, and then I'm going to get over it.
Yep.
Because ultimately, like, I have more things to worry about.
True.
I have more things to carry about. So, like, obviously, failure, you need to acknowledge it, and you need to understand why you failed and, like, dissect it a little bit, but you also need to be okay with failure and accept failure and see it as a positive as opposed to a negative.
Yep.
And I know it's really hard.
You're always going to be a step closer to where you are because you went through that, like, hard time.
Exactly.
You're always going to end up, because you went through that, you're going to become better.
Exactly. There's always something you can learn from failure. And there's always a lesson that you can take from it. And I think that's what people need to start seeing, as opposed to, oh, I failed.
Definitely.
I need to, like, I'm deterred from doing that again. Yeah. I failed. This is why I failed. I'm going to go back at it again, and I'm not going to do this.
Yeah.
And, always learning from your mistakes.
Totally. Oh my gosh. I love these gold nuggets. I feel like I could just go on all day now, because I see this a lot with our candidates too. It's like, oh, well, I don't want to do recruiting anymore because I failed at this. That might not have been the right person you were working with, maybe your manager or the company or the site. Like, it could be so many other factors.
Exactly.
Like, don't discount the talent, the everything that you've put into something. Like, maybe it's just like a tweak.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. And I feel like even in sports, you can see this too. Like, kids who are amazing at basketball or amazing at soccer, but they hate it because their coach was horrible.
Yes.
And then they no longer want to play anymore because they associate
this a lot too.
Playing that sport with that coach.
That's so sad to me.
And, it's unfortunate, but, in the work environment, like we see it with recruiters that we talk to, I never want to recruit again. And it's like, well, let's dissect this. Like, why?
Yeah.
Is it because of your manager? Was it because of, the people that you were surrounded with?
Yeah.
Was it just the company value? Let's dissect why you really hated it. Was it really the recruiting that you hated, or was it the environment that you were in? So
true.
Yeah. But
wow, this is awesome. No, this is so great. I'm so happy we could have Iliana share all of her past experience with us. Just some like really gold nuggets of wisdom and advice. And thank you so much for everything.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be a part of it.
Yes. All right. Onwards from here. So pop off, queens. Thanks so much.